All right, 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. It's a nice-looking Friday morning, and I don't even know if it's cold. I've asked you people with jackets, but I don't think it's that cold. I think temperatures today going up to 80 degrees. Hard to believe. The Friday before Christmas, we're talking about temperatures like this, but then again, maybe it's not so hard to believe. We do live in Florida. If you live vicariously through your electronic devices like your TVs, your computers, your handheld devices, Jim George is the guy to ask questions of those things. He knows about them. He installs them. He actually gets the signal to them in many cases. In fact, in most cases, Jim is the owner of American Cable Services, and he's here to do his, I guess we call this the Friday before Christmas special. And he is with his friend Cor, and I don't think we've met Cor before. So good morning, Jim, and good morning, Cor.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How you both doing?
Fine, thank you.
And where's Cor? Cor, where are you from?
Well, I'm from all over, Europe and Africa and Canada.
Wow, where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Africa.
In Africa?
Yeah.
Wow, what part? Like South Africa?
And what used to be Rhodesia is now called Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
I like that name better.
Yeah.
Zimbabwe. When you grew up there, was it called Rhodesia?
It was called Rhodesia when I was there.
Oh,
yes.
really? Okay.
Uh-huh.
Wow, what a fascinating story. How do you guys know each other?
We're partners in that the IPTV system we've been talking about, and I said, Corey, you need to come in and talk about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was in the industrial business, and then I retired, and then unfortunately or fortunately, I met Jim. And then that ruined my retirement, so now we're back to work full time.
All right. And are you guys ready to take some phone calls?
Yes.
Sure.
By the way, that's an important part of the show is phone calls. So if you'd like to call in, the number is 622-WOCA. That is the WOCA Climate Control Source outline. And Robin just turned on the air. This morning it was kind of cool, so I didn't even look at the thermostat, but I guess after the sun came up, it got warm in here. All right, let's go to the phone. Good morning. You're on the air with Jim, George, and Cor.
Hi, Cor. This is Ann Hamilton. I don't know if you remember me. I used to house sit for your dog and your cat.
I do remember. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. I said, Cor, that's not a common name. And then when you said Rhodesia, I knew right away it was you.
Yeah.
I just want to say Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to everybody, but I just wanted to say hello. And this is a great radio station that you're being on right now.
Well, thank you
and
so.
a great program.
Thank you so much for remembering. Yeah, that's one of the advantages of having a name like Cor. It's not when I was at school and they said Dave, 12 people stood up. When they said Cor, only one person stood up. Typically, it was me. But
Right, is your dog okay and everything?
she's great. Yeah, she's lost her eyesight unfortunately just this year, and my daughter is a veterinary doctor. Took care of her, but it's amazing these animals how they can get along. She's all around the yard and uses her nose as a bumper, but she's an amazing animal. So we love her, and
okay. Well, it's good talking to you, and doing my best to your wife and everything. And don't forget Pat and Wayne down there too.
Right, absolutely. We see them on a regular basis. So
I know you do.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to say hello and wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas to you too. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you. Boy, that wasn't something you expected.
No, right. I got one friend left.
The magic,
called in.
The magic of radio, right?
Right.
You're reaching out to people you don't realize. What I know you've done this before, Jim. What does IPTV actually stand for? What does the two initials stand for?
Yeah, the IP is the Internet Protocol, and then, of course, TV would be normally television. So it's a way in which you can deliver TV through the Internet. Now, it's not broadcast on the Internet. It's just delivered by way of the Internet. I know it sounds a little confusing.
Yeah, it does.
You're not going out to www. something and everybody's there. This is like a virtual private network that is housed on a private network by level 3, and then when you get our box or you get our app, then level 3 makes it possible for it to be delivered to your home or business through the internet.
And what do we end up with? Is it the normal can I see channel 2, or am I limited to, and do I pay, like you've always talked about the a la carte, do I pay for whatever it is I'm looking at? How does that work?
Exactly. I'll let Cor explain a little bit for you.
Yeah, actually there's a lot of news and discussion very recently now, and being pushed more and more now, actually by the FCC and also by Senators Jay Rockefeller and John McCain. They're trying to push through legislation to force the big cable companies and the satellite companies to start allowing people to buy a la carte. Because one thing that most folks really hate about their cable bill is 450 channels. You watch 7, and you have to pay $150 a month. And frankly, you know, for most people, they can't even afford it. It's not a case of.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's a system that we've gotten into over the years, and it's gotten more and more expensive, not only for the cable companies, for the producers and everything. So it's something that needs to be changed. And in fact, in Canada, they passed the law just last month or the month before. It will be the law in Canada in 2014 that the consumer can buy a la carte. And that's what we're set up to do with our new company. So basically, what would happen is you would go to the website, you would put your name information in, put in your credit card or your PayPal account,
Right.
and then we know from your zip code what designated market area you're in. Now, the designated market area would be for Fox and ABC, CBS, NBC, PBS. They have about a 100-mile radius that they would broadcast in. So here in Ocala, we would get some Gainesville, we would get some Orlando stations.
Right,
so you would get those stations. They're considered must-carry by the government. They're
Oh, really?
yeah,
Okay.
you have to offer them.
And that's because the must-carry part must be because if there's a storm, you want to tune into the local.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's right. And of course they're available over the air. If you put a tall enough antenna up on your house, you can get them basically for free. So we offer those, and then the consumer will be allowed to go over to the a la carte side, and then we'll have 400 or 500 channels over there eventually. We're going to do a lot of ethnic stuff, a lot of specialty programming that you may not be able to get on cable, but you'll have all the traditional ones as well, and then you'll be able to go there and select. Say I like the History Channel, I like NFL, and you know, you could buy 2 channels, you might buy 10, you might buy 100.
And this is all through the internet.
All through the internet, yeah. And of course, you know, everything is going internet-based. You know, the world's going that way fast. Your whole life is going to go through the internet. They're talking about hooking up your entire house, all your appliances, all your medical records. Everything's going to come through the internet.
Right.
And you know, technology is changing so fast that television is going to go through the internet. Or
it already is. It sounds like
it is. Yeah, it is available. I mean, of course, most people recognize, you know, YouTube was probably the first one when you go to YouTube. There's all kinds of videos you can get on there. A lot of the big broadcasters and TV stations are.
Do you know what I always wonder about YouTube, if I could squeeze in a question? Why does YouTube work so well? And other video companies like Vimeo, and I can't think of the other ones, but they...
Ustream.
Ustream, yeah. Well, but some of them, like, they stop. Like, you start to watch it, and then it'll do the little thing around.
Yeah,
and
it's called
like
buffering.
Buffering thing, yeah.
Well,
but YouTube seems to have fixed that problem. You can watch something so easy.
What happens? Remember that's what's coming through the internet is not a TV signal. It's data, and the data then gets converted back into a TV signal or an RF signal at your television. So data is coming through the internet, ones and zeros, basically, millions of them, and depending how big the file is, and this is one of the things that we've really been able to master that nobody that we know of anywhere in the world has yet mastered, and that's the fact that to produce a high definition 1080p signal, which is super high def, 4K is coming too, that's 4 times 1080, but to produce that signal and send it over the internet requires a huge amount of bandwidth. Typically today about 15 to 20, 30 meg, sometimes 40 meg, which, you know, 99.9% of people just don't have that kind of speed. So what we've been able to do is we've developed a software technology where we compress that signal down to 2 to 4 meg, which most people can stream at their homes without losing any of the quality. And that's really the key.
That's a good thing too.
Yeah.
We've become very spoiled by the good quality now.
Yes.
Like the other day, Robin and I were in Best Buy, and there was a little laptop we were looking at. So we looked at a video, and I said, it doesn't have that quality. And it was an unknown name to me anyway.
Yeah.
So we don't want that poor quality anymore. And actually, that quality was probably way greater than it was a few years ago.
Absolutely, it was. So going back to your original question, is so the more data that has to come through the internet, or through your pipe, if you will, your connection, your internet connection at your home, the more data that has to go through there, the more capacity that you have to have. And so if your system doesn't have enough capacity, if you've got 2 or 3, 4, 5 meg, and you're trying to push through a 10 meg file, what happens is it buffers. So what's happening is it'll download some information, part of your video, it'll play part of that video, and then as your system is trying to pull more, if it doesn't have the capacity to continue to fill the pipe with data.
Right,
It
right.
stops for a second and it says, okay, I can't show you any more video. Give me more data. It loads more data into your computer or your laptop or whatever you're watching it on, and then it streams that. So that thing's called buffering, and sometimes you actually see the word buffering.
Yes.
on there.
So the technical guys at YouTube must have figured out how to do it the right way,
Well, what they
and other people are still
Yeah, remember,
behind.
there's two things that goes on. One is called dynamic bit rate. So in other words, what the system does is it automatically calculates how much speed you actually have, and it lowers the picture quality down to a point where it'll actually stream.
I got you.
And also, you remember that with YouTube, you're normally looking at it on a little laptop or a smartphone or some smart device, and it's a pretty small screen.
So it's smaller and looks better.
Small screen, it looks better, but it doesn't require as much data. There's a lot more data required on a 65-inch
Makes
Samsung
sense.
flat screen TV
Makes
than there
sense.
is to produce it on a little TV.
So is that a challenge for you guys? I mean, bringing TV to homes through the internet.
It's a challenge, and that's what I try to tell people. We are a normal delivery service, like a cable TV, like a satellite, except our delivery comes through the internet. So you don't have a cable running to your house, you don't have a satellite dish screwed to the side of your house, it comes through your internet connection. What's also great about that is if you're a customer and you have internet anywhere in the world, you plug it in, you could be in Lagos, Nigeria, in the middle of Africa, and if you've got internet, you can get a television program, you can be a customer.
Wow.
You're not
wow.
restricted by a
pretty
cable
amazing.
running across the street connected to your house. So it is the future. Everybody, all the big boys are working on it, and the challenge is to get the compression down low enough that the average person can use it, and then when you display it on your TV screen, that you haven't lost all the quality.
So Jim already knows this about me. I have a TV, but I haven't watched TV in years.
Doesn't have an on-off button.
I don't even watch TV. But next week, next Tuesday night, not Christmas Eve, but New Year's Eve, that's the day I wish I had a TV. And here's why. Because I'm watching the ball fall up in Times Square.
Yeah.
And it hasn't fallen yet, and my neighbors are already blowing off fireworks. So I said, well, it must be New Year's. My signal is like a minute or two late.
Yeah.
So it's midnight in my neighborhood, but not on my computer.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's it's very interesting technology, and we're excited about it because again we seem to be the first people that have actually got the compression down that low with a high quality. In fact, we're streaming now out of our new head on 7th Road here in Ocala, and you can see the quality of the pictures, just fabulous.
Well,
So.
are we hooked up to you, Jim? Are we?
Not yet.
No, not yet. Okay.
We're both hooked up to OEU,
Oh, that's
Ocala
right.
Electric
That's right.
Utilities.
Yeah, that's right.
But we're not streaming to anyone right now, but a few alpha customers. And like I said, in January, February, be beta customers. By March, we'll be full launch. We're still in the need of a couple of more dollars to finalize everything.
Will you offer Hulu on your system too?
Hulu is just a website you can go to if you.
Oh.
So, if you have internet, you can go to Hulu anytime you want to, or
Yeah.
Netflix anytime.
But you got to pay for that. I went to Hulu.
Yeah.
We had this discussion about Mr. Rogers.
Uh-huh.
I can't remember why we wanted to see something. Oh, it was Mr. Rogers with was it a bear? No, a monkey. Mr. Rogers was
With a monkey.
with a gorilla or something.
Yeah.
And everybody was talking about it, and I wanted to see it, and you couldn't see it except on Hulu.
Yeah.
And you had to pay to be a member of Hulu.
Yeah,
So I signed up for it, and you got like 7 days for free, and I forgot to undo it. So then I got charged like $7 or something like that.
Yeah.
Which for the month, but.
Yeah, they both have excellent services. Netflix and if you talk to anybody that's under 30, they don't have cable TV. These kids are all walking around
really?
with their tablets and their laptops, and
So that's the future right there.
that's the future. They all watch, and a lot of people who simply can't afford $150 a month are giving up their cable. All the cable companies and that are losing customers like crazy on a monthly basis, big time. People are signing up for Netflix and Hulu and saying, I'll watch Grey's Anatomy a week later.
But
who cares?
are they making up for the loss in revenue by simply offering internet?
Well, some of them are, of course, but for instance, the satellite guys can't offer internet, so it's a real challenge for them. And more of the telephone companies have gotten into television.
So
It's
DirecTV
like
doesn't offer internet?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought for some reason I thought they did. Okay.
So can we be on your waiting list then, Jim, for
Hopefully we are.
Yeah,
a la
we're-
carte in our homes?
Yeah,
Certainly.
because
Can we sign up?
because we love you, we'll move you up on the list because the list is about 4,000 pages long. Everybody keeps
I
saying,
bet.
when can I have it?
Ah,
It's
so
not
are we
ready.
alpha or are we beta? What are we?
Yeah. It's part of you develop a new cookie recipe and everybody wants it. Say, well, it's not quite ready. Then everybody gets mad and say, well,
I was telling Corey the other day, I said we should bring a box in here on Friday and put a TV in here and just let you as a person
that'd be nice, yeah.
for the first time not even seeing the box, turn it on, change channels,
Oh, yeah.
see the quality of the picture and comment and go, yeah, I'm right here watching, USA or Spike TV or whatever.
But I can't get it in my house yet, huh?
You can get it through the internet through a sample that we have, but we're not broadcasting that sample over the air to tell everybody where to go.
Oh, okay.
But the bottom line is we do have it streaming to a couple of, I guess maybe 100 people around the world that can see it. And I just told Joe a few minutes ago where to go to stream it for himself to see it. And I'm sure I can tell you off the air. But the idea is in order for us to keep up with our time frame of when we're going to launch, we were speaking about it the other day, we need a couple of more investors. So part of this radio show today is to say, hey, if you got a couple of bucks you want to invest in a state-of-the-art IPTV system, give us a call.
Would Kickstarter work for you? Could you use that?
I don't even know what do you mean by Kickstarter?
Yeah, somebody's just starting Kickstarter here, aren't they, in Ocala? I just heard that
Oh,
yesterday,
I'm sure.
actually.
Yeah, that's that new software that
No, it's
No, Kickstarter is a website where you basically lay it out on the line what you're trying to
Oh,
do,
no.
a project,
Yeah.
and people all over the world will contribute.
Wow.
It's not new. I don't know much about it, but I know. Here's what I know: when we have authors or people who have something like this and they want to get somebody to invest in them,
yeah.
they put it on Kickstarter. They spell out what they want to do. And Kickstarter has certain rules what you can and cannot do.
Yeah.
Like you can't go on there and try to raise money for the Red Cross. Like we were doing for the Literacy Council, they
Right.
wouldn't let that.
Sure.
So I signed up for Kickstarter and then I found that I couldn't use it
Yeah,
because
it's funny how things go, right? Because I'd heard of Kickstarter and we hadn't really thought about it very much. And then yesterday we had a long discussion about it at
oh, you should try
at
it.
lunchtime, and then now it comes up again. So wait a minute, here it is.
God's trying to tell
it's
you
a little bit
something.
like Shark Tank, but it's
Well, we had an Olympic athlete on. She's going to compete in Russia in the Winter Games.
Yeah.
And she's a pilot, and she has written a book, and she wants to do a book trailer, but in movie form. So she signed up for Kickstarter just to ask people to invest so she can,
In the trailer,
get the funds to actually do the filming for the trailers. So that's a perfect
Yeah,
way
we've
for you to go.
we have a pretty good talent pool. Jim in particular, because he's been in the business such a long time, and our partner Diego Cardona, who's just a brilliant mind, has developed all the technology. And to date, we've self-funded. We did get an investor who's actually a friend of the family, if you will, who just thinks that we're doing a great job, and he invested. But as with any startup, you always end up with saying, "Well, I don't have quite enough money." And what we need to do now is buy all the additional equipment so we can get up to 400 or 500 channels, which is
Oh, wow.
what we need.
I
to
would
do.
hook up to Kickstarter right now because you know
Yeah.
what's happening right now. These wealthy guys are two reasons. They want to be giving as the Christmas season is here,
Yeah.
and they also want to spend money before December
the
3rd.
year.
Yeah.
December 31st, they want to have a write-off.
Yeah, and that's
some kind of
we were
investing.
talking about it yesterday with our good friend Philip Olstein, and
You could start. You could sign up in 15 minutes.
Yeah,
it's so easy.
exactly that. We're trying to raise between 500 and $1 million, and that's it. We'll be totally done. And we said, we're actually reaching out to people down in Miami and Tampa. We're talking to talked to Dustin Moskovitz, who was part of the Facebook.
Oh wow!
Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Nice.
we know him as well, and reached out to him and all that. But I was just saying to Jim yesterday, I said, I can't believe we can't raise that money. Ocala, right in our own backyard. This is a technology developed right here
Yeah.
in our hometown. We should be able to support it in our hometown, and we're not looking for $50 million. We're looking for a small amount. So. But it's exciting, and again, we've built the new head end, which is where we're going to develop all the signals for around the world. We compress it, we encode it, transcode it, and then we ship it via a 1.5 gig fiber optic port.
Well,
to
this is
level
exciting
3.
stuff. Then
It
I
is.
mean,
It is
State
very
of the art.
exciting.
Nobody's
exciting.
doing it.
It's
Yeah.
so exciting because we know you. That's another reason it's
Yeah.
to be exciting.
Yeah.
I went over and saw it the other day, and the first thing he did was say, "We need to put a studio in here."
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is definitely possible. But there are so many opportunities for it, because when I was up in New York last month, at the content and communications show in the Javits Center, I was talking to a bunch of gals that are small-time producers of small documentaries and videos for music videos and all kinds of. They're private entities. There's a lot of small ones just in the city of New York. And I was talking to the gal, and she says the biggest problem we have is we produce, and some of these customers produce some very fine stuff. They can't get it out to the world other than through YouTube.
Right.
And so they were all excited about saying, well, I said, we can take you on big screen TVs anywhere in the world.
Oh, yeah.
So they're talking about forming an association where they could pool, those. But anything that's interesting and unique, that's typically small. I mean, somebody who has a small or a medium-sized studio or a network, and they want to get onto the system,
So would you be selling advertising?
Yeah, advertising is going to be a big part of it, because what our system knows is we know exactly who is watching TV, when they're watching, where they are,
Right.
how long they watch. So, for instance, if somebody at 8 o'clock signs on to the military channel, we know they're on the military channel, but they know if in 10 minutes he signs off the military channel, switches to another, we know that. Exactly, we know exactly. So what I'm talking to some of the producers, some of the smaller networks about, I said, you don't really know how good your programming is. You've got, through the Nielsen ratings, they say, well, we're extrapolating, we're looking at 800 people, we extrapolate this, 400 million people watching, and so 100,000 people are watching your program, but they don't really know. With us, they actually know. But more importantly, what's interesting for them is if they sign on at 8 o'clock, but sign off at 10 past 8, you say, wait a minute, why are people switching off my program? Mm-hmm. Maybe the program's not that
Disappointing news
Yeah.
if you find that out. Yeah.
good. And as I was talking to a fellow out of Kansas City, I said, the thing that's interesting too is that you might find that your program at 7 o'clock is more popular than your 9 o'clock program. And you may want to switch those two formats, because more people are watching it.
You never
prime
know,
time.
right?
Yeah,
That's good, and even demographics would be usable.
Right.
If you knew that a 60-year-old man was watching like me, you might show some old fuddy-duddy stuff. So I'm going to make sure I always tune into the 19-year-old stuff, so I see the hot stuff.
That's right.
Yeah,
So-
but you're not going to sell diapers to
chicks.
people that are watching NASCAR, right? I mean,
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. All right, let's go to the phone. Good morning. You're on the air. Are you there?
Good morning, gentlemen.
Yeah.
I can tell you personally that I don't watch much TV anymore, simply because of the commercials. I mean, you can watch a movie or a regular program or some TV series, and they start in with the commercials, and they have so many commercials you practically forget what the heck you were watching. And I just don't even bother anymore watching that much TV. If anything, I look for either the PBS channels or something like that where there's no interruptions. And believe me, I'm telling you, if I watch an hour of TV a week, for a 5-day week I'm talking about, that's a lot. And even the news is so horrendous today. We don't have news. You get a bunch of babbling boobs and bobbing heads, and you hear the same old political spiel over and over again.
Yeah.
And their commentary. I want the news, not what they think or what they don't think or whatever. But the point of the matter is I really, as a person or individual, and I don't think I'm the only one, I just don't bother tuning in anymore because it's the same old commercial after commercial. And to me, it's like 5 minutes of commercials and 2 minutes of program.
yeah, I can answer that. I can answer that question for you. The second most hated thing about your cable bill is the bill first, and then secondly all the advertising. And of course, unfortunately, the thing is that the whole industry, from production all the way through, is supported by advertising. So
Yeah, right.
advertising is a
What are you gonna
reality.
do? Yeah.
Of course, you can do what a lot of us do is DVR everything, and then fast forward through the commercials. And we have a DVR capability. Our DVR is actually on the cloud. It's not stored in the little box that's sitting on top of your TV.
Right,
so
right.
you can store a lot of data, and you can archive it and keep it.
So I have a suggestion for programmers. First of all, go back to the formula pre-Reagan. Now I loved Reagan, so I'm not picking on it. But the one thing I think he did that kind of hurt our industry was allowing more commercials. There used to be a limit.
Yeah.
So go back to that old limit, and then people wouldn't be so disappointed. And the second advice is put the commercials like we do. Put them at the top. Put them at the bottom. Don't put anything in the middle. Mm-hmm. And then
That's what they do in Europe.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, the commercials are typically at the front and the back. Sometimes a little section in the middle, and then you can either choose to watch it or not watch it. But the reality is, the industry, the whole industry, is actually supported by, and you've got to get people like Disney to, if they're listening, they're the ones that have to make the change. The big boys that really
People
run
with
the whole
money
thing,
always running the world,
yeah,
right?
the money runs right. The other thing that's also a pet peeve of mine is tell us the news, don't manufacture the news.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say I like his comment that we comment a lot. We do commentary. Now, if a show is called news and commentary, that's different.
Right.
But news, I'm agreeing with him. It should be news. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Great Friday before Christmas show. Before we say goodbye, give us a phone number so we can look up more. And I know the website can't be given out. I mean, American Cable can, but the other one you're talking about. So
Well, right now, you continue to call American Cable at 854-9795. And if it's dealing with the media in motion, we will definitely steer you in the right direction.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim, and thank you, Cor. Great
Thanks.
to meet you, and I'm glad your dog is doing okay. Now we know who your dog sitter is.
That's right.
All right, we'll take a little break. We'll be right back.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.